You've been sprinting toward a finish line you can't even see. Waking at dawn, pouring coffee down an empty morning, chasing every fleeting sign that whispers, "This is it," only to find yourself breathless and staring at the same four walls. What if the very thing you're chasing is the barrier standing between you and your own power? Picture yourself on a treadmill, heart hammering, legs burning, miles clicking by, and realize you're going nowhere. Right now, I want you to feel the tightness in your chest, the restless buzzing in your mind that says you're not enough unless something outside finally shifts. Drop the hustle for a moment. Hear only your own breath. Listen to that unspoken question rattling in your gut. Why isn't it working? Carl Jung didn't stumble into success stories. He plunged into the unseen depths of our wounds. He said, "What you resist persists, and every ounce of effort you've poured into affirmations, vision boards, even prayer, has been answered with stone silence because your clenched fist scares the universe away. It responds only to surrender. So stop running. Stop bullying yourself into alignment. Lean back and let that void open inside you. Feel the uncertainty, feel the ache, then whisper a different question. What part of me still believes I'm missing something? Because the moment you face that question with trembling honesty, without excuses, you'll unlock a stillness so fierce it becomes your true magnet. In the next few minutes, we'll unravel why release, not pursuit, births real transformation, and how you can step off the treadmill in your mind and finally start moving forward. But before that, breathe. This is the moment everything changes. You've been told that success is a race, that if you chase harder, run faster, and grind longer, the finish line will finally appear. But what if that finish line was never meant to be caught? What if, in your desperate pursuit, you've been bending yourself into shapes that never fit who you truly are? Imagine a wound you've tried to cover with band-aids of ambition and affirmation. Maybe it's the ache of not feeling good enough. Maybe it's the sting of past rejection, or the fear that one more failure will define you forever. So you double down on chasing promotions, chasing likes, chasing validation, anything to quiet the echo of that old hurt. And at first, it feels promising. A like here, a nod there, you taste the promise of relief. But relief never lasts, because the energy behind your chase says, "I am broken, I am not enough." And the universe hears that, not your vision board. Carl Jung taught that what you resist not only persists, but grows in size. When you run from your wound, it ripens in the shadows, demanding ever greater effort just to keep it at bay. You affirm, "I am abundant," while secretly believing you're still desperate. You declare, "I am loved," while guarding your heart against further hurt. Your words scream success, but your energy whispers lack, and a whisper is loud enough for the soul. So here's the pivot. Stop chasing, not because ambition is wrong, but because ambition without alignment is just anxiety in a new costume. Instead of sprinting toward a goal, step off the treadmill of frantic energy. Turn inward and ask, what am I really chasing? Is it the job title, or the safety you think that title will provide? Is it the relationship you crave, or the proof that you're lovable? Peel back the layers. When you courageously name the wound beneath the chase, you shift the dynamic. You no longer need to prove worthiness to the world, because you're ready to prove it to yourself. You move from frantic pursuit into graceful inquiry. The question becomes less, how do I get more? And more, what inside me needs healing? In that space of honest self-inquiry, your energy transforms. It shifts from clamoring to calm, from pushing to allowing. You still hold goals and desires. There's nothing wrong with that, but they arise from a place of wholeness rather than a place of lack, and the universe responds differently to a whole person than it does to a desperate one. So today, give yourself permission to pause the chase. Find a quiet corner. No vision boards, no affirmations, no frantic journaling. Just you and the question, what part of me still feels missing? Sit with that question, even if it shakes you, because when you unmask the wound driving your chase, you weaken its power and rediscover your own true magnetism. That is where genuine transformation begins. You think writing, "I'm enough" on sticky notes will trick your mind into believing it. You imagine that hours of visualization will rewire your reality. Yet every time you sit to affirm, there's a knot in your chest, a silent rebellion you can't will away. That knot is your unconscious mind, the silent partner in every thought, every choice, every heartbeat. Carl Jung knew that the unconscious isn't fooled by good intentions or golden ink. It hears the tremor beneath your words and carries it forward like a whisper through your veins. Picture your psyche as a vast theater. The conscious mind is the spotlight on the stage, but the unconscious is the chorus in the wings, always singing, always influencing the scene, whether you see it or not. Here's the battleground you chant. I am worthy, but somewhere beneath the surface, another voice snarls, you'll never be enough. You plan, you prepare, you polish your exterior, presenting confidence to the world, while the underbelly of your belief system remains unexamined, directing your life like a hidden director calling the shots. When you insist on looking for signs in every sunrise and every coincidence, you're still begging external forces to validate a story that lives inside you. But the truth is, the universe doesn't respond to your captions or your playlists. It responds to the code running in your unconscious. Every doubt you bury, every fear you refuse to face, becomes a script that the world dutifully mirrors back to you. So how do you break the cycle? First, acknowledge that your unconscious is always listening. It doesn't rest during morning meditations or Pinterest boards. It's awake when you scroll in bed, hungry for the next distraction, molding your reality while you chase the glamorous half of the equation. Let's try a simple exercise. Close your eyes, take a slow inhale, and ask yourself, what am I afraid the world will discover if it sees the real me? Don't censor, don't soften. If shame, guilt, or fear answers, lean into it. Let the emotion rise without judgment. Notice where it lives in your body, your throat, your stomach, your chest. Breathe into that space. Now open your eyes and write down the first sentence that comes to mind. Commit to honesty. This moment of confrontation is the crack in the dam. It allows your unconscious belief to surface so it can be met, named, and eventually healed. When you begin to surface these hidden scripts, your energy changes. You stop wrestling with a phantom problem and start having a real conversation with yourself. You transform from someone who begs the universe for a new script to someone who rewrites their inner narrative. Remember Jung's words, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. By shining light on what's hidden, you reclaim your agency. Instead of oscillating between hope and despair, you cultivate a grounded presence. You move from chasing elusive signs to discerning the genuine whispers of your soul. In the next section, we'll explore how true detachment, not apathy, becomes the bridge between this newfound self-awareness and the flow of authentic transformation. But for now, keep that journal entry close. You've just unlocked the door to your hidden world, and on the other side lies the power to reshape everything. Detachment isn't throwing in the towel. It's not giving up on your dreams or resigning yourself to fate. It's a radical shift in orientation, from gripping the rope of outcomes to opening your hand and trusting that what's yours will land gently in your palm. When you confuse detachment with apathy, you mistake stillness for surrender of ambition. In truth, detachment is the fuel that powers lasting transformation, because it replaces desperation with presence, anxiety with calm, and frantic control with quiet confidence. Picture two artists at work. One paints furiously, lashing brushstrokes across the canvas, desperate to finish before the vision fades. The other stands back, observes the negative space, lets the paint breathe between strokes. Both share the same devotion to creation, but only the second produces art that feels alive, because she makes space for the painting to evolve on its own terms. That's detachment. Carl Jung didn't teach us to crown willpower as king. He taught us to become witnesses to our own inner drama. He said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Detachment begins when you choose to observe your thoughts and cravings without immediately reacting to them. It starts with a single pause in the chaos. Here's a simple practice to embody detachment. Find a moment of quiet. 5 seconds is enough. Close your eyes and place one hand over your chest. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. As you breathe, imagine each inhale drawing in presence and each exhale releasing tension and need. On the 5th breath, let your mind ask a powerful question. Am I doing this from faith or from fear? Notice which answer rises first, without judgment. That single pause interrupts the cycle of urgency and reminds you that you are not your impulses. When fear fuels your pursuit, every delay feels like proof that you'll never arrive. But detachment flips the script. It doesn't ignore the timeline. It resets your relationship to it. You recognize that the universe moves in rhythms you can't force, and you decide to align with those rhythms rather than batter against them. You still plan, you still act, but your actions flow from a center of trust, not a pit of panic. Think of detachment as turning your energy from a drill bit that bores into the rock of reality to a magnet that quietly draws what's compatible. The difference isn't in activity, it's in vibration. When you chase from lack, your energy shouts, "Not enough." When you detach from lack, your energy whispers, "I am ready," and the universe responds to the whisper. Detachment also reveals the hidden wounds behind your obsession. When you stop gripping so tightly, you feel the tender parts of yourself that you've been protecting. You notice the ache for love, the hunger for safety, the fear of abandonment. Instead of medicating those vulnerabilities with busyness, you honor them with compassion. You integrate the wounded parts, and suddenly your goals no longer carry the weight of proving your worth. They become invitations to express your wholeness. This doesn't mean you become passive. You simply act from a place of spaciousness. You cultivate fierce intention wrapped in soft surrender. You plant the seeds of your desires, then water them without twisting their stems. You do the work required, but you release attachment to how and when the harvest appears. Detachment is the bridge between inner awakening and outer manifestation. It's the crucible in which your true intentions are forged, not by the heat of desperation, but by the fire of self-trust. So if you find yourself grinding, pushing, chanting mantras that feel hollow, pause, breathe. Remember that your power grows in the space you create, not the force you exert. In the next section, we'll dive into the void, the mysterious space where transformation germinates unseen. But before you move on, practice that 5-breath pause again. Feel your heart soften, your mind clear. Know that release is not giving up. It's the most courageous act of claiming your own authority. You've unclenched your fist. You've paused the pursuit. Now you stand before the void. That blank, echoing space where nothing seems to be happening. It feels like failure. It feels like punishment. It feels like the world has forgotten you. But it's neither. The void is the crucible where your old self dissolves and the new self is born. Imagine burying a seed too deep in packed soil. It suffocates. The seed needs empty space around it to swell, to push through darkness and sprout. That's what the void does for your psyche. When you stop crowding yourself with endless affirmations, vision boards, motivational podcasts, you create the loose earth your soul needs to unfurl. Carl Jung called this the creative void. He said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder, a secret order. On the outside, chaos. On the inside, reorganization at a cellular level. Your nervous system is rewiring. Old beliefs are loosening their grip. New pathways are forging beneath your awareness. But you won't see this with your eyes. You'll only feel it as that impatient itch. Check your phone, to fill the silence, to prove you're still moving. Resist that itch. Let the silence sit around you like clear air. Notice the stories your mind is telling. Nothing's happening. I'm stuck. I'm broken. See them as passing clouds, not gospel truth. Behind those clouds is the sun of your true self, gathering strength. Here's how to lean into the void without losing yourself. Begin a void journal. For the next 3 days, set a timer for 3 minutes, twice a day. During those minutes, write exactly what the void feels like. No filters, no edits. Don't try to cheer yourself up. Don't reach for solutions. Simply record the texture of the experience. Is it cold? Is it loud with thoughts? Is it empty? Or does it thrum with suppressed energy? By mapping the void, you move from fear into curiosity. You transform a threat into a terrain you can explore. Over time, you'll see patterns, the moments before breakthroughs, the subtle shifts in mood, the dawn of new ideas. This journaling is your lantern in the dark, illuminating the contours of your own transformation. As you become intimate with the void, you start to trust it. You begin to recognize that stillness isn't stagnation. It's the fertile shadow before the bloom. You learn that the universe isn't on hold. It's taking a breath. And in that breath, the next chapter of your life is writing itself. Remember, the void is not a void of power, but a vacuum drawing your future to you. When you stop injecting your frantic energy into it, the vacuum works its mysterious pull. Doors you couldn't open with force begin to crack. Answers you chased externally begin to rise from within. New connections form effortlessly, because you are no longer the desperate seeker, but the silent magnet. Before we move on, honor the void with one small ritual. Light a candle, sit before it in silence for 5 minutes. If thoughts crowd in, let them pass. If emotions swell, let them flow. Feel the flame burn without needing to fan it. Know that just as that candle burns steadily in still air, your becoming unfolds in the quiet space of not doing. In the next section, we'll explore the power of integration, how merging your light and shadow completes the circle of transformation. But for now, rest in the void. It's not nothing. It's everything quietly gathering. You've rested in the void and witnessed your own silence. Now it's time to bring the pieces back together, to integrate, not obsess. Integration is the alchemy that turns raw experience into wisdom. It's the bridge between inner healing and outer reality. Obsession fractures you, one part yearning, another part resisting. Integration unites you. Mind, heart, and soul, moving in concert. Think of your psyche as a gallery filled with paintings you've hidden away. Anger, shame, guilt, fear. You've been chasing the spotlight, desperate for applause, while the darker canvases gathered dust in the corners, whispering their own stories. True wholeness demands you dust off those shadows and hang them alongside your triumphs. Only then does the gallery reflect your full self. Carl Jung called this process individuation, becoming the unique, cohesive being you were always meant to be. He didn't promise an easy path, because facing your shadow cuts deep. But he showed us that every suppressed emotion, every ignored wound, is a reservoir of energy waiting to be reclaimed. When you integrate, you stop leaking power into denial and projection. That energy reinvests into your vision, fueling authentic creation rather than frantic chasing. Here's how to practice integration. Revisit a recent moment of strong emotion: anger at a friend, shame over a mistake, fear of failure. Close your eyes and bring that scene to mind. Notice where in your body you feel the charge: your throat tightening, your chest constricting, your stomach churning. Don't judge, simply observe. Then ask, what story am I telling myself about this feeling? Perhaps it's I'm a failure, or I don't deserve kindness, or I'm unsafe here. Once you identify the story, trace it deeper. When did I first believe this? You might uncover a childhood memory of criticism, rejection, or abandonment. That memory formed a belief that still governs your behavior today. Sit with that realization. Breathe into the part of you that's been carrying this wound. Offer it compassion. I see you. You were protecting me then, and I appreciate you. This simple acknowledgement breaks the pattern of suppression. Next, choose one concrete action to honor that reclaimed energy. If you unearthed anger, channel it into creative expression. Write, paint, run. If you uncovered shame, turn it into service. Call someone you hurt, volunteer, apologize. If you felt fear, transform it into courage. Speak up for yourself. Set a boundary. Try something new. This action stitches the shadow into your lived reality, converting disowned energy into fuel for your purpose. As you weave these shadow threads into your tapestry, notice how your outer world begins to shift. Projects that once felt hollow gain new depth. Relationships that triggered you reveal themselves as mirrors for growth. Your goals no longer feel like frantic grabs at validation, but invitations to express a deeper knowing. You move from fragmented pursuit to unified presence. Integration also refines your magnetism. In the past, your energy oscillated between desperation and doubt, repelling the very things you wanted. Now your frequency hums with authenticity. You no longer need to prove yourself. You simply are. That authenticity draws opportunities, people, and breakthroughs effortlessly, because you're no longer a divided self. You're a whole self. Before we step into the next chapter on ego versus soul, take a moment. Reflect on one shadow you recently reclaimed, and one action you'll take today to honor it. Write it down. Keep this commitment visible, taped to your mirror, set as a reminder. Integration is ongoing, but each conscious step deepens your wholeness and accelerates your transformation. In the next section, we'll delve into the inner tug of war between ego's control and the soul's peace, and how choosing alignment rewrites your destiny. But for now, celebrate this moment of integration. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are a life to be lived in full spectrum. You've begun to integrate your shadow and reclaim lost energy. Now you stand at the crossroads of ego and soul, two voices vying for your attention. One demands control, certainty, and proof. The other offers peace, trust, and a deeper sense of timing beyond your rational mind. Understanding their difference is the key to moving from conflict to co-creation. Imagine waking up to two notifications. One is your ego. Did they like your post? Are you on track? What's your next move? It buzzes with urgency, rattling your chest with fear of missing out. The other is your soul, a soft whisper as you stir. Rest a moment, you're safe. Let things unfold. The ego wants the map and the deadline. The soul wants the journey and the meaning. Carl Jung taught that the ego builds your persona, the mask you show the world, while the soul connects you to a larger story, one that transcends roles, titles, and timelines. The ego craves outcomes to feel validated. The soul craves alignment to feel whole. Left unchecked, ego drives you to micromanage every detail, draining your nervous system. But when you listen to the soul, you operate from a grounded center that doesn't panic over unknowns. Here's a simple pause practice to distinguish the two. The next time you feel a surge of anxiety or urgency, stop. Place your hand on your heart. Notice your breath. Ask silently, who's speaking, ego or soul? Pay attention to the quality of the response. If your mind tightens, reactions spike, or you feel constricted, that's ego. If your body softens, fear recedes, and a deep knowing arises, that's soul. When ego speaks, it often uses phrases like, "I need to finish this now," or "if I don't control it, I'll fail." It fears vulnerability and equates waiting with weakness. The soul, in contrast, says, "I trust the unfolding," or "How can I serve from this space?" It sees timing as a dance, not a race. Let's do a brief inner dialogue. Close your eyes. Visualize the last goal you chased, maybe a promotion, a relationship, or a launch. Hear the ego giving you instructions. Push harder. Prove yourself. Notice its tone, harsh, demanding, impatient. Then invite your soul to speak. Release control. Trust my timing. Feel its tone, soft, patient, expansive. Don't judge either voice. Simply observe the contrast. By practicing this inner witness, you learn to choose your source of action. Next time you plan your day, ask, is this itinerary fueled by ego's anxiety or soul's intention? If it's ego, refine it. Remove one commitment. Add one moment of unstructured breathing. If it's soul, honor it. Follow through with calm confidence. As you consistently align with soul rather than ego, your energy transforms. Projects unfold with less friction. Relationships mirror your newfound spaciousness. Opportunities appear in surprising, effortless ways, not because you forced them, but because you became the vibration they resonate with. Remember, this isn't a one-time fix. The ego will always challenge you. It's wired to protect you by controlling outcomes. The invitation is to become the observer who can hear both voices and choose soul more often than ego. Over time, the boundary between them blurs, and you act from an integrated center where ambition and alignment dance as partners, not opponents. In the next section, we'll explore how shadow work and manifestation are two sides of the same coin, and how fully embracing your darkness amplifies your light. But for now, pause and journal one line. Today, I choose to act from my soul by. Keep it visible. Let that intention guide you beyond fear and into the flow of your true becoming. Every time you chase a dream without first befriending your shadow, you build on quicksand. You might land a promotion, find a partner, or hit your sales targets. But if a hidden wound still lurks beneath the surface, those gains slip through your fingers like water. That's because manifestation isn't just about scripting your desires, it's about healing the parts of you that subconsciously repel what you seek. Your shadow is the repository of every suppressed emotion, every disowned belief, every flicker of shame you thought you'd forgotten. When left in the dark, it steers your life by accident, and you call it fate. But when you bring it into the light, you turn that blind driver into an intentional navigator. This is why shadow work is manifestation work. They're two sides of the same coin. Imagine trying to float a boat with a leak in its hull. No matter how strong your paddle strokes, the water seeps in, and you never reach shore. The leak is your shadow. That old story, I'm unlovable, or I'm not creative enough, or I'll never be secure. Until you find the source of the leak and patch it, every stroke you take toward your goals will be undermined by that hidden damage. Carl Jung taught that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. He didn't leave us a step-by-step on affirmations. He left us a path into our own depths. And it begins by shining a flashlight on the wounds you thought you'd buried. Here's a 3-step approach to doing your shadow work as manifestation practice. Spot the trigger notice moments when you freeze, when doubt floods in, when you self-sabotage. Maybe it's hesitation before pitching an idea, or the urge to scroll through social media instead of writing your book. That flash of resistance is your shadow making itself known. Instead of forcing yourself past it, lean in and ask, what am I really afraid of right now? Dialogue with the wound. In a private journal, write a letter to the frightened part of you that's holding you back. Don't sanitize it, name it. Maybe it's the child who felt dismissed, the teenager who was bullied, the employee who was overlooked. Ask it what it needs to feel safe. Listen without judgment, then respond. Offer it compassion, promise to hold space for it, assure it that you're in control now. Integrate. Through action, choose one small, courageous step that embodies both your desire and your newly healed part. If you uncovered a fear of failure, enroll in a low-stakes challenge, a local meetup, a short online course. If you surfaced unworthiness around love, practice extending kindness to yourself. Schedule a solo date at a museum, or write 5 affirmations, not of future success, but of current acceptance. I deserve care today. As you repeatedly name, nurture, and act, you rewire the neural loops that once sabotaged you. Your energy shifts from grim persistence to magnetic coherence. You no longer push manifestations out of desperation, you magnetize them out of wholeness. Notice too how your outer world begins to mirror this inner integration. The partnerships you attract feel less draining, more reciprocal. The projects that once plateaued now gather momentum. Doors you once pounded on unlock gently, as if recognizing a familiar resonance. Remember, shadow work isn't a one-and-done task. It's a lifelong dance of noticing old residues and welcoming them home. Each time you heal a fragment, you reclaim more of your creative power, and with every fragment reclaimed, your capacity to manifest deepens. So the next time you set your intentions, whether for wealth, love, or impact, ask yourself, which part of me still believes this can't happen? Then meet that part with curiosity and kindness. Because the most potent manifestation tool you own isn't a vision board or a mantra, but the integrated soul who stands behind every dream you dare to call into being. You've done the inner work, paused the chase, welcomed the void, integrated your shadow, discerned ego from soul. And yet here you stand, wondering why the life you envision still feels just beyond reach. The hardest truth is this: you are often the gatekeeper to your own destiny, not fate, not timing. Carl Jung warned that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Why terrifying? Because full acceptance means seeing not just your strengths, but your soft, wounded places you've spent a lifetime avoiding. Instead of diving into that inner lake, you've chased the next project, the next validation, the next proof that you matter. But chasing to avoid yourself only tightens the lock on the gate you're desperate to open. Think of a powerful river blocked by debris. Your dreams are the river's current, but every unexamined belief, every unresolved shame is a log jamming the flow. The more you pound against the blockade, more hustle, more affirmation, the more the pressure builds until the logs splinter in unexpected ways, creating new dams downstream. So let's clear the channel. Start by naming the subtle beliefs that whisper sabotage. I'm not ready. I don't deserve success. If I get what I want, I'll lose who I am. These are the architects of your own prison. Each time you catch yourself saying one of these lines, pause and shine the light of awareness on it. Say it out loud. I believe I'm not ready. Hearing it in the open deflates its hidden power. Next, confront the cost of maintaining these beliefs. What opportunities have you skipped because you felt unprepared? Which relationships have you held back from because you feared rejection? Write them down. Seeing the pattern in ink transforms vague regret into a concrete map of self-imposed limits. Then embody the truth you claim but haven't yet felt. Stand in front of a mirror and speak a courageous declaration. I am ready now. Hold your gaze. Feel what shifts in your chest. If shame surges, let it. If doubt fights back, greet it. Your power lies not in banishing discomfort, but in showing up anyway. Finally, take one impossible feeling step today. Maybe it's pitching your idea to someone you've idolized. Maybe it's sharing your writing with a small audience. Maybe it's asserting a boundary in a relationship. Choose an action that pushes you against the grain of your old narratives. Then do it, fully present, knowing that every tremble of fear is a pulse of new life. Here's the paradox. As you clear your blockages, the universe doesn't rush in to fill the space. It breathes, as you do, in its own rhythm. Doors open not because you forced them, but because you finally stood aside. Opportunities you didn't even know existed begin to present themselves, guided by the unspoken alignment between your inner authority and outer expression. Remember, you're not cursed or doomed by some cosmic oversight. You're simply being invited to level up into your own power. When you stop wrestling with your reflections and start calling yourself home, you reclaim the flow you once thought was lost. You become the channel, not just the seeker. So today, ask yourself, what gate am I still guarding with fear? Then do the courageous work to unlock it, because the only thing standing between you and your destiny is the version of you that's afraid to receive it. Clear the debris, let your river run, your life awaits on the other side. You've journeyed from frantic chasing to sacred stillness, from denying your wounds to weaving them into your wholeness. You've learned that every affirmation without feeling is just noise. Every vision board without integration is just fantasy. Every hurried step without presence is just more running in place. Now it's time for the deepest shift. You're not manifesting a new life. You're remembering the one that's always been yours. Recall the seed in the void, swelling in the dark until it pushes through the earth. That seed is your original blueprint, uncorrupted by doubt, untainted by fear. Somewhere along the way, you buried it beneath layers of not enough, convincing yourself that growth required endless acquisition. But growth is reclamation. It's peeling back each heavy layer until your brightest self breathes free. Carl Jung whispered that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That privilege isn't earned through hustle, it's revealed through surrender. Each time you pause the chase and ask, "What part of me still feels missing?" you step closer to the marrow of your being. Each time you welcome the void, you gift yourself the space to remember your innate alignment. Each time you integrate a shadow, you reclaim a fragment of your power. Each time you choose soul over ego, you tune into the frequency that attracts your destiny. This path isn't about arriving at some distant mountaintop. It's about descending into your own interior landscape, map in hand, naming every creek and canyon, until you stand at the center of who you've always been. In that center there is no lack, no desperation, no barriers, only the clear vibration of your own truth. And from that vibration, life doesn't just answer, it hums in resonance. So lean into this remembering. Let go of any last shreds of should, of have to, of maybe someday. Say quietly, right now, I remember. Feel the word as it reverberates through your cells. Notice how your chest softens, how your mind quiets. That is homecoming. From here, your steps won't be frantic. They'll be fluid. Your decisions won't be driven by fear. They'll be guided by clarity. Your creations won't be forced. They'll emerge, as they always have, from the wellspring of who you are. In this remembering, you don't invent your reality, you unveil it. If this felt like more than just words, hold on to that spark. Comment below, "I remember." Let that declaration anchor this shift in your nervous system. Share it with someone who needs to hear that home is inside. And when you feel doubt rise, return here, read these words, breathe, and remember once more. You're not manifesting, you're remembering. And your life, reclaimed and undeniable, begins now. Welcome home.